Hello creatives, I'm Joanna Penn from thecreativepenn.com, and today I'm talking about self-doubt as writers. Because I just want to be honest about it, we all suffer from self-doubt. And how does that feel? That feels like my writing is terrible, I'm terrible, no one will ever want to read what I put out in the world. I'm going to get bad reviews, no one's ever going to buy my stuff, I'm wasting my time, what is the point? All these feelings, the sort of worthlessness, the worry, anxiety sometimes, it all kind of sags together into fear of putting our words out there. And this self-doubt can chronically kind of cripple you. But I wanted to talk about it today because the truth is that we all suffer self-doubt. And in fact, I have a quote from Charles Bukowski, who was a famous poet. Bad writers tend to have self-confidence, while the good ones tend to have self-doubt. And I also have a little story about this. I went to Thrillerfest in New York, which is the conference run by international thriller writers. It has some of the biggest names in the world who speak there. And I went to a panel, had people like Lee Child on, who writes the Jack Reacher books, Sandra Brown, who's one of the biggest romantic suspense authors, Clive Cussler, action adventure. I mean, these names, they're huge in the industry. R.L. Stine, one of the most famous children's writers, in fact the most prolific children's author in the world, writes the Goosebumps series and all that. These people have been writing books for years, and a writer in the audience stood up and said, "My manuscript is terrible. I feel like I just need to give up." And all of the writers on that panel went down the line and they all said, "I still feel that way." Now, whether that is encouraging or discouraging, it depends on your perspective. Now, I was really encouraged because what that means is that self-doubt is just part of the creative process. It doesn't go away. It sits there. It's part of the process. What you need to do is learn to live with that and go forwards and finish your manuscript and publish your manuscript and get your words out into the world anyway. So yeah, self-doubt is just part of the job. So we all experience this, and I just was thinking back to when my first novel went out into the world in 2011, and you can actually find the video of that experience on the channel. I'll link to it in the description, where essentially I cancelled my launch drinks for Stone of Fire, which originally was called Pentecost, because I was just full of crippling self-doubt, and to put my words out into the world basically left me in a bawling heap on the floor, and I just couldn't face it. I couldn't deal with it, and yet I did it again and again and again. So I still feel that way, but that self-doubt is not crippling anymore. It's just something that I acknowledge and let it sit with me and do it anyway, because there's a part of us inside as writers where if we don't write, we're going to cripple ourselves in other ways. We're going to be unhappy, we're going to feel blocked. You need to get your words out into the world. You need to break through that self-doubt, because your words are important. We need to hear your voice. You don't know whose life you could change with your story, or your non-fiction book, or the words, the wisdom you have. I mean, I have chronic self-doubt being on video with you now. As an introvert, it helps being here on my own, but the thought of these going out into the world and people seeing them, it's difficult, but we embrace it anyway as part of the process. And that's how we write and create and put our words in the world and change people's lives. Okay, so those are some thoughts on self-doubt, and if you need some more help, I have a book, The Successful Author Mindset, and the very first chapter is on self-doubt because it's such a common problem with authors, and that's in ebook, print and audiobook formats.